coming up on Up at Noon. Godzilla has returned, and critics like him even more than the last American film. VR headsets are out in the wild, and monster cereals. They're cereals about monsters. All that more right now on Up at Noon Live. Hey, welcome
Macarena. That's the year of 2016, and that song's coming back hard. We go now live to our senior Macarena correspondent. No.
Back to you, Frederick. Welcome back to Up at Noon Live. This is a show we keep doing every week in spite of everyone's best efforts to try to shut us down because we're out of control. I'm Max Scovos, Brian Altano.
Hey, baby.
What's the show about?
This is a weekly comedy variety show right here on IGN. You can watch it on IGN.com. You can also watch it on PS4, the Xbox One IGN apps, the Roku Apple TV apps, Twitch, Facebook, or YouTube.
Yeah, and you can use the hashtag Up at Noon to tweet at us using that, and just type it in there, and we try to pull it out. And it's very difficult to try to track what people are saying, aside from comments on recorded videos, which are all very mean. But anyway, one person who's not mean is our sponsor, Mafia 3, except for the actual Mafia part of that. The Mafia people are kind of mean. But yeah, special thanks to Mafia. That game is out in the wild. You can check it out. We reviewed it here on IGN. That game has alligators in it. They came on the show to show those off. So yeah, go check that out. It's
actually very excited to dig into that this weekend.
Yeah, I started downloading it, and it did the thing where it was like, oh, hey, guess what? Your internet sucks, and you have to go to bed. So I was like, well, good night, Mafia. I'll play you when I get a free moment.
Did you buy one of those mean PS4s?
Yeah, very rude PS4. Yeah, so I've got an important announcement to make, Brian.
You're incontinent?
No, I said a Rogue One trailer dropped this morning.
Oh, good.
But how did you know about my incontinence? So we got our final kind of story Rogue One trailer for Rogue One, a Star Wars story.
Yep.
And I'm really excited about this movie.
Yeah, me too. We're kind of at that point where I officially don't want to see anymore. Around this point in the Force Awakens life cycle, that's when all of those like weird European TV spots started coming out, and we actually got an extra even more, like 2.5 more minutes of footage if you splice them all together, which people did, of course, and which I told myself I wouldn't watch, but then I did. And I've been sort of cautiously optimistic about this one for a long time. This further cements that. I'm incredibly excited for this movie, but I'm also sort of like, it feels a lot like getting story DLC for my favorite video game of all time.
Yeah, so that's an interesting point. Basically, you know, we got this trailer with The Force Awakens. It's entirely like it was a follow-up to a thing that happened 30 years ago.
Yeah.
Like it is one of the most long-awaited sequels you could possibly have. This one is like 10 minutes before the first movie in the series.
Yeah.
Like it's an entirely different kind of product. It's also like they're not even trying to pretend that this is, you know, somehow attached to like the kind of the main storyline. This is called a Star Wars story. It's part of the anthology. But that said, like they're simultaneously showing us way more visually here. I'm really excited about this because I think it just seems visually.
This is an awesome shot.
This is great. So this trailer has like a ton of stuff in it.
You can tell why that Jedi died, by the way, because his lightsaber was broken.
And yes, and he was 800 feet tall and made of sandstone. But yeah, like there's so much to look at here, and I'm kind of like The Force Awakens is awesome, but I feel like the best thing about Force Awakens is really kind of the experience going into it.
Yeah.
The amount we got excited about it, and the fact that it's pretty much like soft resetting the whole series.
Yeah.
Like it's giving it a chance to kind of start fresh. You know, this is going to begin to make things new again. But going back and watching The Force Awakens, it leaves a lot to be desired in terms of like stuff to pick apart. Like,
yeah,
with the exception of...
It's not an incredibly dense movie
Yeah.
if you're looking in the background for extra stuff.
Like,
but
with the exception of like Maz Kanata's castle and the parts on Jakku, like there's kind of just a lot of shots of just people hanging out. You know, it's not like with you know the original trilogy where you're like, is that an Ugnaught? Like, what is that back there? Why is IG-88 dead in the corner? You know, there was always, even in kind of the most like kind of bland scenes, there were weird background details, and I feel like Rogue One is kind of doubling down on that, and they're showing it to us because, you know, we already know what it's about.
So let's talk a little bit about what we like and don't like. Right off the bat, I love that Hannibal's in this movie because that's one of my favorite shows of all time. It's awesome. I love the new droid K2SO. It's really cool looking. I really love the fact that we're seeing ATSTs in sort of close quarter environments, which we haven't really seen since Endor. Just the cinematography in general is just absolutely stunning in this film. Probably some of the best we've ever seen from a Star Wars movie. One of my big concerns is Saw Gerrera's feet.
Saw Gerrera?
Yeah, not a big fan of the way.
Because he's got a weird peg leg?
He's got a peg leg, robo foot, and his other foot is just like this dude that sounds like he'd be selling peyote in Haight Street.
So that's something I really do like about this, is that we've got for lack of a better word, we've got this rogues gallery of characters.
Yeah.
We've got a bunch of like new, just weird people. There's like, aside from like Mon Mothma and Darth Vader, and like, I guess, what is it? Who cares? What are the rebel generals or whatever? Like, we don't know any of the characters in this. They're all new characters. Whereas, like with The Force Awakens, it was like, hey, here's here's a handful of new characters, but everyone else is people we already are familiar with.
Yeah.
And that was really cool, and that was fun to get excited about. But like, beyond just characters, it kind of expanded to like even the technology in there. Like, it's kind of weird that Force Awakens took place 30 years after the original trilogy, and all we got in terms of vehicles was like a TIE fighter with a red stripe on it and like a black and orange X-Wing. And then they were like, oh, hey, these are the Stormtroopers, but they're like kind of different.
You had grandparents, right? Do you remember what the kind of cars they drove?
Kind of, yeah.
Does it look anything like the kind of cars on the road right now? Like, they're not even close, right? They're totally different.
Sure, yeah,
and you look at X-Wings and they were like, it's been 30 years, let's put a stripe on it. Like, if I drove my grandpa's car to work, it would explode.
Sure. But I mean, I think part of that was also the fact that they were like, hey, this is original trilogy Star Wars. This is the stuff you're familiar with. We're not going to shake things up. We're not going to have like a chrome Corvette spaceship. We're not going to have people riding around on dinosaurs. It's going to be pretty close to the stuff that, for the most part, people know and love. Whereas Rogue One, they have kind of the luxury of like working in the space of, you know, familiar territory. You've got an AT-ST, you've got, you know, AT-ATs in there, but they're also giving us like a brand new TIE fighter. They're giving us a new Rebel ship. And it's so strange to think that like this takes place like right next to stuff we're familiar with, but it's seeing kind of less recycled imagery than something that takes place way on down the road.
Or way before. If you look at something like The Phantom Menace,
Sure.
one of the things that always struck me was that weird Flight of the Navigator ship that the princess has.
Yeah, right.
That like totally doesn't fit into Star Wars at all. It
Yeah.
feels more like, you know, kind of 1950s sci-fi.
Yeah.
But all in all, I'm excited for this one. I think there's like way less mystery about it all. And for me, in a lot of ways, that's actually kind of a good thing, because it's the sort of less expectation about where this is going to take the franchise, since I already know where it goes.
No, I'm really excited about is I want to find out what this man does.
That's right. This is actually one of the new characters.
This is Moroff.
Yeah, this is Pissfoot McDogalot.
Yeah, we saw him for like a second in the behind the scenes footage from Celebration.
Yep.
And he's not in any of the trailers since. We don't know what he does. Maybe he's a main character. Probably not. But that said, like, we've got a bunch of new aliens goofing around doing weird stuff. Are these like red rocket missiles? Are they part of it, or is that just sort of like a dumb toy thing that they decided to tack
who
on?
knows? Either way, that's what I'm excited for. I'm excited for some new ships.
Yeah.
I'm excited for some new creatures. I'm excited for that new droid, and I'm excited to see how the sort of the stuff that was kind of on the fringe of the shots in the original trilogy gets to play front and center here now. So that's Rogue One. It's out in just a few months. It's kind of ridiculous to think that we're getting another Star Wars movie so soon, and that will actually probably begin the countdown to Episode 8, which you actually had a theory that Rogue One might have a trailer for Episode 8 in front of it.
I mean, if you track this, they've been dropping trailers, like, early teasers for upcoming Star Wars movies. I forget when the first Rogue One dropped. I feel like that was kind of beginning of the year. But, like, the trailer for Episode 7 came out the Thanksgiving before that, almost a year and a half before that was out. So, I don't know. Open speculation. That said, like, Rogue One looks badass, and it looks like it's going to yield way more, like, scrubbing through on the Blu-ray, being like, what's that? What is that right there? And like weird, trading cards and action figures if they actually make them.
Andrew Rogers on Twitter says, thanks to Insomnia, I ordered the PlayStation VR this morning at 2 a.m. Thanks IGN, Max Scoville, Agent Bizzle, up at noon. IGN put up an article yesterday about how Amazon was putting up...
Like Insomnia, the disorder, not the studio.
Not the studio, although hopefully they're making a PSVR game.
Oh, Insomnia.
So
Nice.
this is PSVR launch day. If you got one at midnight last night and you sit up all night messing with that, bag of snakes that is setting it up, power to you, and I hope
that
you're
hot
functioning.
VR app, the bag of snakes.
I hope you're functioning at work today, but we actually put up an article very late last night saying that a few were going up for pre-order. This thing was pretty buttoned up for a while. I had one pre-ordered as of the moment I could, and I don't think I've gone back and forth so much about a purchase in a very long time.
No, it's been insufferable.
Yeah, $400 is a weird amount of money to spend on a toy that you're not totally sold on,
Yeah, and that said, it's also like it's launch hardware. How it actually behaves once it's in the wild is like entirely up in the air. And also you're gonna get just a raft of swear word of really uninteresting launch titles, or stuff that was sort of rushed, or stuff that's just kind of still playing around with it. I mean, you look at the stuff that came out alongside PS4 at launch, and it was like, oh, cool, they added pixels to a game that I already have. Anyway, we figured we'd run down some of the kind of reviews that are the reception that we've been getting for PSVR launch titles. Obviously, these are not final. This is from Metacritic. This is going to fluctuate rapidly as more and more people kind of get their hands on the hardware and the games. But I figured just to kind of give a sense of how the lay of the land at launch day is.
And quick PSA, since we always have to do this, sites like Rotten Tomatoes and Metacritic don't write their own reviews. They're aggregate reviews that take scores from multiple places with data, and they compile them all together to create one number.
Yeah. So I mean, obviously,
So don't get mad at them.
IGN has its own set of reviews, but
You can get mad at that. That's specifically one person wrote that.
Exactly. Anyway, so let's start out with PlayStation VR Worlds. That is, there's the Project Morpheus on the side there. Yeah, VR Worlds, I think that comes with the deluxe version of the VR headset.
Yeah, and an interesting thing about this one is that it's sort of a hodgepodge of different experiences that you'll be able to have with PSVR. Some of them are very vertical slice demos of full-fledged games. Other of them are just sort of things they can get on their own. Think about it like Wii Sports or Wii Play, where it's not really landing on a bunch of different experiences. It's just got a couple things going on.
It's a sizzle reel.
The big criticism...
like, really worth pointing out, this is effectively, like, this is not just a new console. This is like a new platform. This is a new way of interacting with games, and like we had with motion controls and with, like, I imagine with handheld games, like, how do you play it? Like, what is it? What kind of a game is this? And in the case of VR, it's such a huge drastic leap that it doesn't necessarily, like, you can't review this on the same rubric you might review like a regular console game where it's kind of a known quantity. It's entirely, like, this is a game where you go on a London heist and also get attacked by a shark at the bottom of the sea.
Yeah.
Like,
so the running theme with a lot of these demos on this disc, as I've been reading, is that they sort of end right before they get really, really good. I mean, they are demos. So you get what you pay for, which I think in most cases is free. So yeah.
So there's VR Worlds, it's $57. On the other hand, you've got Riggs Mechanized Combat League.
Turned out way better than I actually thought it would.
Yeah, we heard early reports that this was like vomit-inducing and broken as hell, and apparently they pulled it together, and it's robot fighting in VR, which is pretty cool.
Yeah, they're going for basically PSVRs are the first VR esport, and apparently the head tracking in Riggs is some of the best you'll see on PSVR, which I noticed other sites such as Giant Bomb over there with Jeff Gersman had some issues with some of the head tracking in some games, but Riggs seems to really nail it.
Cool. Then you've got Drive Club VR. Not such a hot reception. Again, this is one of those tricky ones where you're taking a game that has an existing fan base in its conventional state and trying to apply it to VR, and I mean, it's kind of weird. There are like user scores on this stuff already, but like the hardware isn't out yet. So I mean, maybe people just, I don't know who gets like a new game console and is like, I need to get on Metacritic instead of enjoying this thing I just got. But yeah, so that seems to be kind of a disappointment critically.
Yeah, you always have to be a little wary of the user reviews. This is what I'm interested in.
This is one people are really excited about. It's Batman Arkham VR. It is not a full-blown open world Batman game. It is what, like 90 minutes? Yeah,
it's about 90 minutes. You'll be able to play through it a couple times to look for other stuff. But this is a thing that kind of lets you play as Batman. Now, if you really love the more detective-y stuff that Batman can do, this is right up your alley. If you played all the Arkham games and you're really into that combat of taking on 5 guys at the same time, this is not going to work too well because the combat in this game actually sort of like cuts away.
Yeah, also you'll destroy your living room if you try to do that kind of combat.
Yeah. I will mention, though, there's a really cool thing in this game where Batman can stand in front of a mirror and basically do whatever he wants and just kind of move his body around. So that's odd.
That sounds like a killer app on its own. All right, we're going to burn through the rest of these pretty quick. Job Simulator. This is already out on other VR platforms. 74.
You played this, right?
Yeah, it's really weird. It's totally one of those things. It's a goofy, like kind of in the same realm as like Goat Simulator. It's a tongue-in-cheek simulation game. Not really what you'd think of as an official game. So, you know, again, user score to be decided. Headmaster, that's the one where you play soccer with your head. 71. From 4 critics, whatever that means. Rush of Blood Until Dawn, that's kind of the theme park ride, horror thing. Horror is like obviously a good application for VR, but it's also one of those ones where if this is an hour and a half long experience and it's a bunch of jump scares, how much replay value is it?
Yeah.
So there's that. Then there's Battlezone, which is kind of like, it's laser tanks in the future in VR in 74. Tumble VR is a puzzle game. Doesn't seem like it's really blowing anyone away, but it's also not, it's not terrible. Thumper, this one people seem to really like a lot. I've heard good things about this. It's, what is it? Is a rhythm violence action game or something?
Yeah, it's like Chloe Rad reviewed this for us at IGN, and it's one of those things where she's been playing it on her TV, and every time I walk by, I have to look at it.
Yeah. It looks very cool. Here They Lie. This is a horror kind of adventure type psychological thing. 60. Rez seems to be kind of the number one best received thing so far. This is, of course, the classic res, but now it's in VR.
Yep,
People
I'm
like
all
it.
over this one.
This is the highest rated one. Again, a lot of these we're still waiting to hear about them. You know, and this is all going to change as more and more people review these games.
Yeah, honorable mention to stuff like Super Hypercube and Wayward Sky. There's a couple, just a couple weird ones out there.
So there we go.
Around.
Yeah, PSVR. It's out in the wild, and it's going to be real weird for the rest of its lifetime, whatever that means.
Yeah.
Now come on out here, Damon. Come on.
Here I am.
Hi, Damon.
Damon
Hi.
Hatfield.
Ladies and gentlemen, IGN's Damon Hatfield.
What's up, everybody?
Thanks for joining the show.
Yeah,
sorry for
seriously.
getting in our weird rickety chairs
No,
over here.
we like to torment our guests by having them enter this weird obstacle course of plywood and.
I have been in the IGN studio before, so
Yes.
I know what to expect.
That's
Yeah.
right. Damon, you are far and away the biggest Godzilla fan I've ever met in my entire life. You are a married man that somehow convinced your wonderful wife to allow you to put Godzilla artwork up in your apartment.
Yeah, she's the best.
She's pretty awesome.
Yeah.
You've just been on the forefront of Godzilla culture for years, even through the dark ages when it wasn't that great.
The 1998 Godzilla
The
year.
Broderick. the Broderick
Not a
era.
great time.
episode.
So we've actually gotten 2 new Godzilla movies in the last 2 years,
Yeah.
which is kind of a treasure for us, right?
Yeah.
So let's talk about the differences and similarities between them. Let's start with which ones did you prefer? We're talking Godzilla
The 2014 Hollywood, and then
Yep.
the new Shin Godzilla Japanese one.
Yes.
I loved the Hollywood Godzilla movie. I know
did.
a lot of people had their problems with it. They didn't think Godzilla was in it enough. They thought, what's his name? Bryan Cranston was a little underused.
Yes.
In the
Now,
movie.
isn't that kind of a testament to just Godzilla movies as a whole? Is that, I mean, you get to the point where they start
Yes.
fighting, but there is that long build
Oh yeah.
of.
If you watch the old Godzilla movies, it's like an hour and a half of just people like talking and 10 minutes of rubber suits fighting. And they're hardly in the old movies at all.
That's true.
Yeah.
So that's actually like pretty true to form then. That's kind of a good throwback.
Yeah, I thought the 2014 Hollywood Godzilla was the coolest Godzilla in a movie ever. Like that
yeah.
monster was awesome. Like, say what you will, you wanted to see more of him. I think it's pretty hard to argue that when he did show up, he wasn't awesome, right? He was super cool.
It was actually kind of like as a person who lives in San Francisco, really cool to see Godzilla just stomp around. I was
Yeah.
like, that's my commute, and you
Yeah.
destroyed it. Do I have to go to work tomorrow?
Yeah, so what we've got I've got this lovely image here that I made because I thought it was funny. Here's the 2014 Godzilla, the American
got
one,
it.
and he's got a big pile of fresh tomatoes there because he was critically received well. But here comes Shin Godzilla coming after him. As you can see, Shin Godzilla is sitting at a 76%
Wow.
fresh on Rotten Tomatoes. People really like it, and I mean that's always kind of a roll of the dice with like kind of almost tropey Japanese films with American
Yeah, that's
reviewers.
higher than on Metacritic. It's more in the 60s.
Right.
Yeah, I think so. I've seen the movie. I think it's good. It's totally worth seeing for Godzilla fans because it's a reboot. They're totally starting from scratch. When Godzilla comes out of the ocean, the people in Tokyo have no idea what's going on. They don't know it's Godzilla. And they totally set it up at the end like there's going to be more of them. So if you like Godzilla, you got to see it so you know like where they're starting from.
I like that it brings you back to the original moment of the people of Tokyo being surprised about this again. Because it seems like 30 Godzillas later, they're just like, come on! Like
No,
it's
I know.
actually a nuisance at
They're
this
like, we
point.
built a robot one to fight him, and then
No,
his friends keep showing up.
Yeah.
Yeah, not only have they not seen Godzilla, they've never seen a Godzilla movie. So they have no precedent for what's going on.
All right, and then
Kind
of
of
course
like when zombies show up in a movie today and like, what's going on?
Yeah.
The dead are coming back to life? I've never heard of such a thing.
Why
Well,
is
that's like
that huge iguana here?
It's like believing that they grew up in a world that had no zombie movies, and
Yeah.
we grew up in a world that has millions of them.
Yeah.
So zombies are actually more believable than a world not having zombie movies in it. That was a walk.
Yeah. Now, so conversely, the 2014 Godzilla on Rotten Tomatoes is sitting really close at a 74%.
Yeah.
Love that poster.
Audience score is way less, but also this has had time to breathe. This has had time to kind of like even out. Let's just kind of compare the stats here. Obviously, like people who are seeing Shin Godzilla are probably hardcore Godzilla
I
fans.
think so.
Yeah.
Yeah. But it's hard to see. It's not a
Yeah.
wide release. So you really have to like make a plan to go see this
Yeah,
movie.
yeah.
And then meanwhile, you've got like 100,000 people,
Yeah.
chiming in about that. So maybe this isn't exactly the best metric, but how would you say they compare in terms of like just if you're gonna pick one to watch, like?
Well, I think if you're just gonna pick one, if you haven't seen either one, I'd say watch the 2014 Hollywood movie. This is a really weird Godzilla. Shin Godzilla is the weirdest version of Godzilla ever. Have either of you seen this movie?
No.
I mean, I don't want to spoil it because there's a point when you're like, what is that Godzilla? Like it's the weirdest Godzilla.
Oh, like
ever.
in terms of his aesthetics, how he actually looks?
Yes. Yeah,
I've heard people describe him as like Bear Godzilla.
I wouldn't call him Bear Godzilla.
What animal would you compare him to?
I mean, so like
A lizard, probably.
he evolves throughout the movie.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, he doesn't show up like this fully formed Godzilla. When he first shows up, you're like, is this who Godzilla's gonna fight?
Yeah.
You're not really sure what's going on.
Does he show up as the baby Godzilla that we
I
know?
mean, no, not like the one you know.
So
This is also-
both of these franchises are going to continue on their own, right? Like we know that 2014's
Yeah.
is getting sequels.
Yeah.
Will Shin Godzilla get sequels as well? Is there any
I think
chance?
so. I think they've totally rebooted it and they started it over.
Do you think these will ever like convene, merge in the middle, and have like Japanese versus American Godzilla?
I think they've done that in comics. I
Okay.
think some
Okay.
Dark Horse comics did that or something.
They've
Awesome.
they've definitely had
They can
them
do that,
fight
though.
every which way. We saw.
Oh,
we
in the
saw-
video games too. I think you can fight the different versions.
Oh
of
yeah, that's
Godzilla.
right. There was that
Destroy all
GameCube
monsters,
game.
yeah.
That was a good time.
Now we've seen there already are other kaiju in the 2014 version.
Yeah.
Spoilers, but what kaiju would you like to see show up in the kind of Shin Godzilla timeline?
Well, my favorite was always King Ghidorah, Monster Zero, the three-headed flying dragon that
awesome.
that breathes lightning.
Yeah.
He's always my favorite, so I'd love to see a sort of modern imagining of him.
I just love anything that can breathe lightning. That's awesome.
Yeah,
It's very
Well,
useful.
Sounds
Damon,
horrible.
thank you so much for coming on
Thanks
and
for
talking
having
about Godzilla. We'll get you on very soon to talk about more giant monster movies that you love.
King Kong is coming out in March, I think.
You'll
so
be back for that. You'll be our
We'll be back for
resident
that, yeah.
monster movie correspondent.
Yeah,
Awesome.
monster consultant.
Thanks a lot, Damon.
Damon.
Up next, Max and somebody else played Jazzpunk Arena. Let's see how that went.
Hey everybody, welcome to the Up at Noon Challenge. Zach is joining me because
It's
Brian
true.
has been very, very bad.
He misbehaved.
Yeah, and we were playing Jazzpunk's multiplayer component, which is called Wedding Cake.
I've never played Jazzpunk, but I'm already completely sold. Look at this nudist.
Yeah.
Look at that.
You could be a nudist. I'm gonna be this funky cowboy.
It's all about the
That's a
jazz.
funky cowboy?
I'll be the jazz man.
I'm obviously going to
So-
be the robot.
So basically, this has been out on PC and Linux and Mac for a while on Steam. It's the single-player thing is sort of like a first-person adventure exploration game. He just put it on PS4, and it's basically he
Wow.
added multiplayer.
This
So,
rules.
Yeah, the thing about this is it's kind of like it's like a wedding-themed
Oh,
GoldenEye, Quake. And
What
yeah,
is-
it's definitely not meant to be like
okay, I got killed.
esports ready, but
Or you're telling me this isn't going to become a
I think
hugely
it could.
popular
It's definitely
esport?
gonna be good at parties. Oh, I'm out of ammo.
Oh, it's just like Quake. Well, I mean, it obviously borrows a lot from Quake. So the first weapon that I got was just my pointer finger. Like, you just do a good point on somebody. That's pretty good. Here we go again. Whack.
Yeah, when you pick stuff up, it's all about holy matrimony.
Oh my gosh. This rules. I just want to find you
Ah.
and do a murder on your face. Can you jump?
You can.
There we go.
Yeah. Oh, here's a good gun. I like this one. It's a
Is
sniper.
that just a wedding cake gun? Oh no.
It's a Gatling gun. Here, I got the. It's the double-barreled sniper rifle. Oh yeah, that's what I need right there. Yeah, it's kind of a big map here.
Wow.
Where are these guys?
I tried to poke this man in the face multiple times and it's just no good.
Oh, this is what I want. Yeah, here's the. Oh. It's the remote control gravy. Gravy train, yeah. He got jibbed with gravy.
What's this thing?
Oh,
I'll jump up there and grab that.
yeah.
Whoa! It just launches you across the map. That's kind of cool.
Yeah, it's definitely incredibly janky as far as like
Oh yeah.
multiplayer goes. But this is like a mini game in the grander game, and then you just added multiplayer.
That's so great.
Yeah. Ooh, I got the champagne. That's what I need.
I killed that man with my pointer finger.
Where's that guy? Where's that guy? I see you.
I gotta get a better gun. Is that a guitar? Can I just kill a man with a guitar?
Yep. I think.
Oh yeah, that's
Is
sweet.
that you?
Yeah.
Oh man, get back here. Okay.
Just going full Willie Nelson on a man.
Did Willie Nelson do that?
Oh yeah, Willie Nelson would kill a man with a guitar,
Got the
no
cufflinks.
problem.
That's terrifying.
Oh, here we go. Now I also have the double
I
sniper
wonder if this-
rifle.
Oh, sweet, the cheese whiz. Get the cheese whiz. Okay.
Ooh. Max, I just want to find you.
Yeah. What did I get? Why is there a pufferfish? Did you have a pufferfish?
No, but that's a really good weapon.
Okay.
Yeah.
I got this gravy train. Let's get this one. Yeah.
Oh, I see that man.
We're doing surprisingly well here. Yeah, I'm absolutely gonna. It's also got a 4-player split screen. I'm totally gonna do this at parties.
It's really good.
Just
kind of scratches that old school like GoldenEye Quake itch.
Yeah.
Because it's not very good.
It's real dumb. Yeah. But yeah, the full game is actually really like it's like playing a Mad magazine.
That's
It's
awesome.
got a lot of kind of Futurama, like oh, toast.
I'm kind of surprised that. Oh. Yes. I'm kind of surprised that you didn't pick the Tiki level. I did see a Tiki level.
This is a Tiki level.
Oh, you're right.
Tiki heads. Where is that man? Someone's behind me. Man, I'm in like second place.
I do wish you could move a little faster.
You can pick up champagne and you'll go faster.
Really?
Yeah. It's oh, come on.
I think I just murdered you. Yeah.
Dang it.
Sweet.
All right. Well.
Oh, dang. I died.
Okay. Well, I think it's the best of 5.
Okay. I feel like I gotta move fast now. Here we go. Oh.
Oh, it's getting real messy here.
Man, it really takes a lot to kill people in this game.
Some weapons are way better than others, to the point that it's probably bad.
Yeah.
The cheese whiz will mess somebody up.
I mean, cheese whiz will mess you up in general.
Cork launcher.
Cork launcher.
It's a cork launcher. Damn, that's such a good weapon. There's the cheese whiz.
Civil.
Oh, that
man.
sucks. Unbelievable.
But yeah, everyone fell in love
That's sweet.
and lived happily ever after.
Despite the fact that you're just ruthlessly killing each other.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's Wedding Cake. That's attached to Jazzpunk. It's
Very
on,
good.
It's on PS4. It's like $12 or something. So if you have rude friends who'd like to kill each other with wedding items, that's a thing they can do.
Max, thank
yeah.
you for showing me this game.
Yeah, I do. Get married.
Breaking news, Brian. We got presents in the mail.
did?
A watcher of the show named Andy King, who runs a vintage toy store called Dallas Vintage Toys, sent us Batman surprises and told us to open them on the show. Yeah, so he has an Instagram called Midas Touch Photos where he posts pictures of his toys. Andy, thank you for watching and thank you for sending us cool presents. And yeah, go check out his Instagram. I follow a bunch of like Instagram about toys. Like,
Do you know how happy it makes me to get a toy and wrapping it like in gift wrap like this?
Yeah.
This feels like elementary school. For
Also
me.
with like old Batman on it, back when he
So
was like,
cool.
I'm gonna wear blue. All right, so we're gonna open these presents that we got in the mail. What is it?
Oh wow, the
You got the tick?
Who'd you get?
Oh my god, I also got the tick, but it's the tick with,
With an I Love Wheat shirt.
he
These
loves
are
wheat.
awesome.
Dude, I was seriously so close to buying tick action figures.
That is so cool.
Right? That's awesome.
Oh my god, I'm
right.
so happy about this.
Good stuff, man. Dude, Andy, thank you so much.
Wait, hold on.
Does he talk? I think the batteries are dead, mine. It's from 1995, so that's okay. Yeah, actually, random shout out. Go watch the Tick pilot on Amazon Prime if you have it. I really like the direction that show's going.
This one's called TikTokers. I
Yeah?
see what they did there.
Good one.
Max, before we get into our next story, I just want to say thank you so much. This is so cool. I love getting toys in the mail. This
Yeah.
is my favorite part of my job. I'm once again having a major moral conundrum about PSVR.
Yeah?
So we got a tweet from William Holbert, friend of the show. He said, I canceled my VR pre-order. I want to wait on this tech for a while and put the money on my PS4 Pro. Mahmoud Sadeji says, my PSVR was delivered today. Wife is trying to convince me to sell it for a profit on eBay. What are your thoughts? P.S. What's that sticker on your Mac? This sticker is a pimp R2D2 that Max
Yeah.
got me.
That's
from-
by Manly Art. It's a guy who makes he makes Topps trading cards actually, and is an illustrator based in Dallas. Again, check out Instagram, Manly Art.
All right, so here we go. This is a difficult thing to do. My PSVR is literally going to be delivered in the next hour or two. Bought it with my own money on Amazon for $399. It is now going from anywhere between $640 and $900 on eBay. Some of them are going for $800. Buy it now.
Are there any bids on that?
Yeah, there's a couple with some bids. Yeah,
Huh.
this has 12 people watching. It's looking like I could probably make at least $200 off my thing. I hate everything about this. I hate scalper culture. I hate getting part of all that. It's just temptation right in my giant little ears.
Wow.
There it is.
Well, that's a quandary.
It is.
I'm gonna. I have a similar quandary. I don't know if what I'm gonna have for lunch today.
Yeah, we're not actually going to have time for that, so
Yep.
we're doing straight into this thing.
Yep. Anyway, Star Wars Battlefront, a game we both love very dearly.
Yeah.
Gorgeous game, incredible graphics. Look at them. They're great graphics.
Easily the best looking Star Wars game ever made.
Yeah, it looks even crazier on PC if you've got a good rig. I found this thing on Reddit that cracked me up. This guy, an Imgur named Potty, apparently doesn't have a great graphics card, and he posted some screenshots of how the game looks on his rig, and it does not look like a game that came out in 2015. Let's take a look. Here is, it looks like papercraft.
Oh,
I
man.
love this. Look at these funny pants. This seriously looks like not even the first Battlefront. This looks like
This looks like the PSP version.
this looks like Jedi Knight, the first Jedi Knight.
So this is basically this game running on like one of the worst graphics cards. Or
Yeah,
the
I don't
least
even know
powerful,
how
I
you do
guess.
that. This one's great. What's happening to that
Oh,
face
Skunk
there?
Trooper.
Yeah, look at that weird diaper.
He smells like ass.
Terrible.
Oh, there it is.
Yeah, that's a young Grand Moff Tarkin when he would disguise himself as a weird sandstone mummy. Yeah, I was actually reading up on the kind of the culture of low-end PC mods.
Oh. How did that get there? Num, 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 num. Okay, that's all my job.
All right, there we go. Yeah, anyway.
What is wrong with you guys?
Yeah.
Thank you for that.
Good stuff.
Good stuff. So yeah, that's the worst looking version of that ultimately beautiful game. I think that's really funny.
Yeah. Do you have a crazy screenshot of a game running badly on your system? Like, tweet it at us. Use use the hashtag up at noon. Like,
Let us
we'd
know
love
for
to
sure.
see that.
We will put you on the
Yeah.
show. I love
Honestly,
seeing stuff like that.
I'm kind of down with that whole like low poly look. I like.
Me too.
There's that game Strafe, which is like sort of looks like the original Quake, but insane. I'd love to see more of that stuff. Anyway, so you hate Lord of the Rings. You hate Brian hates hates Lord of the Rings. I like Lord of the Rings. I watch it every Christmas. He does not like the Hobbit films or the Lord of the Rings films.
I find them visually interesting and utterly boring.
He hates J.R.R. Tolkien, the man.
I'm not a big fan
He wants
of
to go to the
high
Tolkien
fantasy.
estate and urinate everywhere.
I like sci-fi.
You heard it here first. Anyway, a lot of people are pissed at...
Oh, the tree is here and he can walk. Oh, what a great
You
scene.
leave Treebeard out of this. The Ents are a wonderful people.
Oh, it's Smorgle the Burgle Dog, and he's
Shut
here
up.
to fight the tower again.
They don't fight the tower. They just mess it up. Anyway,
Oh, it's me,
there's
Gandalf.
2
I
towers,
have a
by the way.
bird
If you
I
even
can
read the
fly
title,
on.
you'd know that.
Anyway.
He also talks to moths. Anyway,
Next,
so,
if I wanted to watch all of those movies again, what's a nice, cheap, affordable way I could do that?
Well, not this one. Basically, Lord of the Rings fans are pretty pissed off because Warner Home Video is releasing this beautiful box set that has all of the Lord of the Rings movies and all of the Hobbit trilogy. That's a weird sentence to say. This is a 30-disc Blu-ray set. It is 12 discs of the movies and 18 discs of special features. It comes with a beautiful watercolor art book and some limited edition watercolor somethings or others.
And we got that cool packaging back there, which looks like a bookshelf.
Wooden shelf. Yeah, it's a grand adventure.
A good way to trick
Now,
your parents into thinking you read.
The thing that's very bad about this is that it is currently going for $499 on Amazon. Let's take a look. Yeah. And as you can see, people aren't really happy about that.
No.
It's at 1.5 stars reviews. It's not even out yet, I don't think. I guess it just came out maybe. But yeah, here's the worst part though. That's it on sale.
What?
It is an $800 box set, and it gets worse. Here's the thing. There's nothing new here, really. Like, there's the art book, and there's the little shelf, and there's new packaging, and there's those watercolor prints, but as far as anything that you haven't seen before, if you already have these movies on Blu-ray, something that can be acquired for, I think, $110 total for both trilogies, yeah. It's a real mess.
That's utterly ridiculous. So who is this for specifically? This is for like the Christmas, the Christmas shopper? Yeah, Rubes is a good one.
This is for people who are easily, a fool in his money or quickly parted. This is for people who are like, I have to own this. It's gorgeous, but it's not $800 gorgeous.
No, that's crazy.
Like if this was $200, I think it would be fine. But like it's $800. I don't know who puts the number in the wrong place. Like that's just messed up. Also, like Peter Jackson has come out and been like, hey everybody, I've got a ton of behind-the-scenes footage we haven't used for anything. I'd be super down to make more documentaries.
Yeah.
And yeah, people are pissed, as you can see by the Amazon rating.
I can't believe that. I mean, that's just like $500 is a lot of money to spend
Yeah.
on anything you're dedicated to, but at least give you something like new out of it. Like if I bought a Star Wars box set
Right.
for $500, I would expect a whole bunch of stuff I'd never seen before, documentaries, at least a good collection of stuff that was like hard to find or floating around. This all seems like pretty surface level for anybody who's been buying these DVDs, which
Exactly,
they've
yeah.
already released 1,000 times by now.
Yeah, I mean, I think what the most obvious thing here is that maybe they have like back stock of actual Blu-ray discs, and
Yep.
they're like, oh, we need to get rid of those before everyone switches to 4K or HD or whatever the hell it's going to be called, and they'll probably put out a second release for that. But in the meantime, they're like, oh, I guess we'll build a small wooden shelf and gouge people. Anyway, I love Lord of the Rings. I have the extended version Blu-ray box set. I've honestly always been too overwhelmed by the amount of special features to even start watching them.
Yep.
But one of these days I'll get bored enough to do that when I don't just keep rewatching that cool part with the spider in the last one.
It sounds terrifying.
I love those films.
Speaking of terrifying, a real-life haunted house out there in our real world. I don't know if I can call it a real-life haunted house. It actually just got a whole lot scarier.
Yeah,
Now, Max,
so-
have you heard of the Winchester Mystery
Yeah,
House?
if you live in the Bay Area of California, you've heard of the Winchester Mystery House. It's kind of outside Santa Cruz, give or take, and it was the mansion that belonged to the Winchester family, as in Winchester rifle, like the rifle that was used in the Wild West and killing people and all that.
Yeah.
It's more readily known as a crazy house full of nonsense.
Yeah.
The lady who lived there, I think it was the widow of Mr. Winchester or whatever, she basically lost her mind and proceeded to put weird labyrinths and shrinking rooms.
She went to a medium, which is basically like a fortune teller, who basically said to her, your husband's invention has killed tons of people, so in order to keep their soul somewhere, you're going to have to keep building rooms in your house to put everyone in there, which is basically impossible to do. So she built this sprawling mansion and just kept adding room after room. Let's take a look at some of the images of it.
Yeah, so here's the house.
It looks pretty cool from the outside looking in. It's got like a nice hedge maze.
Looks like the beginning of a really ritzy sitcom.
It's not that creepy, but this thing, we got an overhead shot here, is just gigantic. It actually looks like a whole section from a Disney World park. I'm kind of fascinated in the way this all comes together because a lot of it has things like this, doors to nowhere. There are stairwells that just lead up into ceilings and stuff like that. She just kept building rooms. Funny story about that is that she slept in a different one each night.
Yeah.
So the spirits couldn't find her. The people who worked there couldn't find her. Helen Mirren is actually going to star in a movie about this,
Ooh.
which is really interesting. She's playing the eccentric widow here.
Nice.
So
Why
that's
is this
terrifying.
news?
The Kansas City Star actually reported that a new room was found recently. Let's take a look at it. It's full of horror. It was boarded up. They pulled down the walls and doors on it, and they found this room. It has old watering cans and stoves and that terrifying nightmare baby, which
Yep.
might have a stuffed cat on top of it and maybe a fat crow sitting next to it.
Wow.
I'm not really sure.
Yeah, so this is cool. I kind of love it when there's something that we're all familiar with. It's sort of just almost played out, and then they're like, "Hey,
Yep.
guess what? We found a I love when they're like, "Hey, we found a new deep sea fish," and it's awful, and you're like, "Oh, that's terrible! I can't believe all the magic that technology's brought us." I would love it if they started going into more places like this, kind of
Yep.
weird touristy traps, or I don't know, Carlsbad Caverns, and just started using I don't know, digital imaging radar or whatever the hell they use to find dolls in scary places.
Yeah, I think this is so cool. If you're in the Bay Area here in California, you can take a drive down to San Jose and actually go visit that today. It's open for the public. You can just set up a tour and walk around and get lost in that weird cavern of dead gun ghosts and insanity.
Get that out of there.
And Jabba the Hutt.
Every
the
week,
baby.
there's a new Star Wars image floating around. It's the studio boys or rascals.
So that actually would have been really scary because this house was built tons of years
And you're like,
before
turns out George
Star
Lucas
Wars.
ripped off the inventor of a famous rifle.
That's right.
Okay, so we're not supposed to get too political on this show. Obviously, it gets some people really upset.
Yeah, we're
but
not going to talk about politics.
I do want to talk about the fact that there's a major election coming up, and I hope everyone is planning on voting on this.
You should be registered to vote. This is one of the most
I'm
important
talking,
elections.
of course, about the General Mills monster cereal election.
That's right.
This is, of course, the big decision between Booberry, Frankenberry, and Count Chocula.
Yeah.
They all have different political leanings. Booberry is he's the more liberal one. He's very hip with millennials. Count Chocula old money, more formal, very conservative values, and then of course Frankenberry is kind of an independent, really more like the libertarian values.
Yeah.
Kind of a mishmash of values, much like the Frankenstein's monster.
So I want to point out here that as somebody who's been supporting all three of these candidates for almost his entire life, I've seen a lot of changes happen over them in the last few years. Number one, Count Chocula has become increasingly more conservative. He used to be all about spending as much time as possible with marshmallow ghosts. Now those marshmallow ghosts have been reduced to about 1 or 2 per spoonful, where it used to be about 50-50 split. He actually is almost asking for more of a segregated sort of culture in terms of ghost to grain ratio, which I'm not entirely crazy about.
Yeah,
now,
it says here,
Frankenberry,
we've actually got a statement from
Yeah.
the Count right here. He says, "You can count on me. I may be afraid of things that go bump in the night, but have no fear. Spooky shadows and fearful frights won't keep me from delivering the goblin good chocolate you crave. So fly to the polls and chalk one up for the Count." That sounds like typical double talk. I'm tired of this.
Now, something I want to point out about Booberry, he's kind of a hypocrite himself. He runs on a campaign of being just like the everyman. As you can tell, he dresses like a dead hotel concierge. He's actually a millionaire, and he's a liar. He's been fronting for years that he's just like you, the working class, but he's a rich man, and don't listen to his nonsense. Now, the biggest scandal of all, possibly just one of the most disgusting scandals we've ever heard. This is breaking news. Frankenberry, when consumed, actually turns your poop pink.
Yeah, I mean, blueberry makes it green, which is even more confusing.
Yeah, but pink makes you think like there's blood in the stool, which is a horrible way to go to the voting polls. So now keep in mind, this is coming around the corner right now, the most important election of a generation. Pick the right monster.
You know, actually, I threw my vote away in the midterm elections. I voted for Yummy Mummy.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I mean, I know it's just kind of like, you know, it's kind of a bummer, but I was really rooting for him.
Now, here's the thing about Yummy Mummy. He had a lot of good ideas. I think he was a little old and a little ahead of his time. But if you were going to vote for Yummy Mummy and now you don't want to vote at all, you got to pick a candidate. Don't just not show up. You got to show up, because otherwise your cereal bowl will be empty.
Yeah.
And so will America.
Look, I just want to pay less taxes, and I want sweet cinnamon Egyptian nightmare mummies.
Yeah,
That's all I want.
So if I was you, go with the candidate that doesn't turn your poop into a different color.
My God, this is a stupid show.
That's right.
All right, so there is another Wolverine movie coming
We were
out.
straight face that entire time.
I don't know how we did that. I think I was a straight face in my entire job interview here. Wolverine is coming out in another movie.
Yeah.
Hugh Jackman's back, baby, and he's in the movie for the last time. This is the last Wolverine movie, I think, supposedly, allegedly,
Well,
so they say. There's probably going to get like, I don't Chris Pratt or something to play him. But yeah, Hugh Jackman's going to be starring in the Wolverine's kind of trilogy end capper finale, and they're calling it Logan. We got this cool teaser image here, which is very, very gritty, and everyone is kind of speculating maybe that's Deadpool's weird little hand that he has in the movie. Maybe it's a team-up movie. But we actually found out some details. It's going to be X-23. It's going to be the kind of the famous sort of like teenage girl Wolverine who has similar healing factor, the same senses and speed and reflexes and all that.
So wait, that's an additional mutant, right? That's
It's
not
separate.
That's not Hugh Jackman playing a teenage girl Wolverine.
No, thank you.
I couldn't
Thank God
pre-order
for
those
that.
tickets fast
No,
enough.
it's Sienna Novikov, who is a young actress. I don't think we've seen her in anything notably, but yeah, basically this movie is going to involve Wolverine training sort of a younger female Wolverine Weapon X type person himself. She's got retractable claws in her hands and feet, so she can kick people and stab them at the same time. Mm-hmm. I never liked that. I never like foot knives. It's too like.
It's weird.
Yeah,
I don't like it with Bayonetta. I don't like it with.
Weird.
I don't
It's
like
kind
it
of
with
weird. But yeah, like I've learned to not really get my hopes up with X-Men movies because I feel like 20th Century Fox has a habit of throwing as many mutants on screen as possible. Mm-hmm. This is a trend that kind of started with X2. You were like, oh hey, like there's a bunch of new characters in here, and I was kind of cool with that at the time. But we've come a long way since then. X-Men 3, they kept throwing more and more in there. Wolverine Origins should have been like a movie about Wolverine, but they're like, let's get all his pals in there. Let's get Sabretooth. Let's get Deadpool. Let's ruin him. Let's get the Blob. Let's get Gambit. Like they kind of just messed it up there. And then, the Wolverine, which was Wolverine 2 or whatever, that could have been an opportunity to be like, all right, here's a very pared down story. Basically, with a Wolverine movie, all I want is like Jason Bourne, but with like God mode and knife hands. You know?
God, that sounds perfect.
Yeah, and as opposed to taking these characters that people do love and adore and really just committing to fleshing them out, with the exceptions, of course, of Wolverine and Professor X and Magneto and Mystique, they haven't really done that in any of the X-Men movies. They always kind of were just like, Oh man, the last Nightcrawler is busy. Let's get a younger Nightcrawler and put him in there. Let's get different beasts. Let's screw things up. Let's get Darwin. You know, like it's just sort of, you know, they kind of. I think they're just trying to get as many new names up there as possible, and like X-23, like it makes sense there, but like. I don't know. I mean, we know that Mr. Sinister is going to be in this, or we think we know, I guess. And then we know that Professor X is going to be there. We saw some set photos. I mean, maybe this will be awesome. Maybe this will be ending on a really high note for the series. But like, I've always liked Hugh Jackman as Wolverine better than any of the movies that Wolverine has showed up in.
Absolutely. And I think my favorite thing is, just like you, that Wolverine's ever done in the comics was just sort of when he gets pissed off and he leaves. Same thing with Raphael in the Ninja Turtles. He gets pissed off, he leaves, and then there's this self-contained, incredible adventure that happens somewhere in like the Canadian wilderness.
Yeah.
Where he's fighting like a bear or an actual Wolverine or like some mutants. And he comes back and he's just like, well, that sucked. That's all I want. I don't really need him in high school or like walking around with like whoever they cast to play Jubilee for half a second in the film. Just give me Wolverine messing stuff up and killing people with his claws and keep everybody else sort of to the sidelines.
Yeah.
So yeah, cautiously optimistic for this one too. Should be pretty good.
Yeah, I believe when I see it. One movie that I know that is going to really just suck.
It's gonna suck.
Sorry, it's gonna be hot garbage. It's gonna be hot garbage left on the hood of your car after you got dumped.
Let's be honest
I'm talking,
here.
of course, about the Emoji Movie. I'm sorry, Emoji Movie : Express Yourself.
That's the actual title.
All right.
Really? The
Well,
Emoji Movie Express Yourself unlocks a never-before-seen secret world inside your smartphone. Hidden within messaging app is Textopolis, a bustling city where all your favorite emojis live, hoping to be selected by the phone's user.
We got our first image from it.
Let's take a look.
Hate that we can't swear on this show.
Yeah.
Yep. Here we go. It's the Emoji Movie.
There they are.
Yep, there they are.
Those things from your phone are here. I think the hand is a gang member.
That's a high five.
He's got a do-rag.
So basically, here are these characters. We've got casting. Gene is played by TJ Miller. He's an exuberant emoji who is born without a filter and bursting with multiple expressions, which is something that emoji can't do, which is why it's clever. Get it? And then, of course, there's his best friend, High Five, which is that gang member hand. What is that? Is it like a bandage or a ring? Or
I don't know. All of these look like smiling minion turds.
Yeah, pretty much. And then that's played by James Corden. And then there's the codebreaker emoji Jailbreak, who's played by Alana Glazer from Broad City, and she's awesome. But this movie looks like I think I'd honestly rather just get punched in the stomach than watch this entire film.
This movie is like if your step aunt was a millionaire and she had an idea in 5 minutes. Like, none of this should happen. It's also like, let's cut to the core here. This is Wreck-It Ralph with emojis. Like, they just completely lifted that idea and ran with it. So, thumbs down and middle fingers and poop emojis to that movie. I will not be seeing it ever, especially not on an airplane after 5 drinks.
Yeah, we're actually going to be releasing our own emoji movie that we made ourselves with paper we printed out. It's called Horse Poop Gun.
Yep,
the Unicode adventure.
Yeah, ever wonder how that horse poop got a gun? Find out soon in Horse Poop Gun.
Yeah.
Brian and Max's real emoji movie.
You can find it on our Tumblr, which we share.
That's right. If you watch this show on a phone, thanks. That's awesome. That's a cool way to watch the show. Unless it's a Galaxy Note 7, in which please stop. Send that thing back immediately. I don't care how cool or tough you are. It will explode.
Is anybody keeping theirs because they're like, I want to be tough?
Yeah, I think people are just
really?
like, it's a good phone. Well, it doesn't happen to me. I mean, it's the same reason anybody does anything bad. They're like, you know, you always hear about it happening to other people. You never think it's yourself.
Ah, that old badass credo there.
That guy. You and I both flew to New York back and forth over the weekend for Comic-Con, and over the the teleprompter or the loudspeaker, whatever it is, they said, if you have a Galaxy Note 7 phone, like, you have to put it away, don't take it out, don't power it on.
Right.
This is an actual major problem in airports now. They are exploding. One caught on fire on a plane recently and had to be grounded. Not a good thing. But Samsung actually sent people a box in which to send your Galaxy Note 7 back so it doesn't explode. XDA developers, which is a cool website which covers all these kind of things, got the box in the mail. Let's take a look at it. It actually has thermal packaging, which is really insane to me. It's basically your phone goes into this thermal packaging with this terrifying logo on it.
You have
which
to freeze your phone in carbonite.
It goes into a box, which goes into another box, which goes into another box, which goes into a truck, which could still explode at any given moment. It also came with rubber gloves to handle it in case it had exploded already or was about to, which is kind of insane to think that like people bought this thing. Look at that. That's what it looks like when it blows up. That's not a cool like.
Has anybody done like a reboxing video for this?
That's not like a geoed wallpaper.
I feel like somebody needs to do a reboxing. They're like, "Hi guys, I've got a Samsung Galaxy Nexus 7 or whatever. It's brand new. It's great, and it exploded. So I'm gonna ship it back, and then just do that whole crinkle up the paper a bunch."
So I'm not going to get into like any sort of like Android versus iPhone debate or whatever. I'm just going to tell you straight up, PSA, if you have this phone, send it back. They'll give you your money back. You can buy any phone you want with the same money and you'll be fine. Don't be a cool dude with like an exploded hand, you Daffy Duck ass son of a...
Good job, Brian.
That was really hard to censor. You know where I wanted to go on that one.
Yeah. So you're really big on the Star Wars trading card app.
Yeah, it's super cool. It's made by Topps. It's free. They give you 25,000 credits every single day, and you can spend them on trading cards. I love Star Wars cards growing up. I love Marvel cards growing up. So this is a cool way to just like kind of just hang around on your phone for a few seconds a day and pull up some cool pictures of your favorite Star Wars characters.
Yeah, and you've been kind of keeping a close watch on this, waiting for the Rogue One stuff to come out, and you very excitedly texted me the other day. You're just like, oh, they got the AT-ST Walker and Chicken Man and the Dark Man and the funny monkey guys.
Yeah, I actually text entirely in Yugoslavian child voice.
It's a mixture of that and emojis.
I cannot wait for the new game with the new man who walk inside. He has a cape and his name is Mr. Krennic.
Yes.
Star Warrior.
Anyway, we got some of the new Topps trading cards here. Let's take a look at them.
Yeah, these are awesome. So this is custom art, sort of a mix of concept art and art that we've seen within the app. Max, you and I at Comic-Con met some of the artists working on this app, and it's really cool to just put a kind of a face to the artwork here.
Yeah.
I love this shot. This is sort of evocative of the shot we saw in the trailer today, which is this close quarter of the AT-ST coming down and stormtroopers be in front of him.
I'm so excited there's a new movie with AT-STs in it. Like
so
proper
cool.
ones, not those like little dinky ones.
As you can see, these all sort of say sold out in the corner. They were kind of premiums that came and went really fast. You can spend a lot of real money in this app, or you can play it for free casually. But if you really want the good stuff, you got to put some money in, which I still haven't done.
All right.
But they let you screen cap all the cards
You got
anyway.
these funky Dark Troopers.
Yeah.
Hold on, I'm gonna dress up like one of them.
That's what they're saying in the film. Stop that Star Wars.
Yeah, I hope that they sound like that and they're just like, what?
Yeah, take a look at those X-Wings back there, too. There's just a whole lot of cool stuff going on.
I got a TIE Striker?
Yeah, looks like it.
And then there's
here we got Jyn, a couple new poses of her in front of an explosion, looking like completely unfazed. She mostly looks unfazed in this film, which I'm very happy about. That's kind of the badass in her. Some more Death Troopers over here. These guys look super cool. I do really I love this sort of. It feels kind of Battlefront-ish.
Yeah.
Just that whole war feeling.
I mean, it's a Star Wars war movie.
Yeah.
And it's kind of cool because they're throwing in kind of like stuff that feels reminiscent of like Vietnam movies. You get the palm trees and the beach in the background, like Apocalypse Now, and then you've got like some kind of World War II. They got a Saving Private Ryan tank scene, and then you've got these dudes with like glowing green mouthpieces, which reminds me of like Modern Warfare 3. Like I feel like they're kind of just drawing from all kinds of recent war fiction.
Yeah, absolutely.
This is cool.
Yeah, so this is basically they're trying these sort of like woodcut prints, which is this is the first one they've done from it. But just like all cards, you get variants, right? So here's the sort of straight up pose on the right, and the more artistic version on the left.
Nice.
And then we've got some of these more horizontal shots. They're really cool. I love these guys just rolling in like both of these kind of look like pen and pixel rap album covers.
Yeah, these are kind of goofy.
Yeah,
I dig them, but yeah, it's like very sketchy. I like this one on the right here a lot. These are my new favorite characters. I forget their names. I don't really care, but there's just these like awful Yeti boys.
Yeah,
just gonna shriek at each other.
And I think they're friends in the movie. I hope one of them doesn't have to hold the other as
What if they keep trying to like do it and they have to like spray him with the water bottle? They're like, knock it off. We're doing a Death Star trench plan, whatever. We're stealing it.
Animals are known for their hot rutting during war.
Yes, that's true. Yeah, that's all of them. That's pretty cool.
Yeah,
so,
it's really awesome.
Topps trading card app.
Check that game out.
I'd like to wish a happy birthday upcoming real soon to a
very special lady,
very special woman, a Wonder Woman. Yeah, so we got this weird care package from DC. Wonder Woman is turning 75 years old. She first made her first appearance in 1941. That's just crazy. And this is a really cool kind of hardcover book that I love this kind of comic collection, like especially for a character who I'm not necessarily too familiar with. Obviously, I'm familiar with Batman, but I grabbed a couple years ago a kind of a similar thing that was like, hey, 75 years of Batman, and it's like a greatest hit selection, but it's like, it's more of almost like just a timeline. It's like the evolution of the character. Like Golden Age comics, like they're great because of what they kind of established, but they kind of suck too. Like they're really goofy, and like there was no style guide, no precedent. Like here's Wonder Woman, and they've got like a magic portal she has to look through. There's a bit in here where she decides she's gonna run for president, I think. Awesome. I was reading some of this on the train, and it's pretty goofy. And then you get ahead a little bit, and suddenly it's like, oh hey, this is pretty badass. Also, where's her clothes? What's going on there?
I love like the language they used back then too. They'd be like, "Stop it there, you jerky jobber."
Yeah.
You'd be like, "He's an old bank rustler, isn't he?"
But yeah, like I mean, this is Wonder Woman in particular. They make this kind of collection for any kind of comic character that's been around long enough. But like you get to the recent stuff and like holy crap, look at that! Like look at how far everything's come. She's choking Two-Face.
Yeah, there we go. Like in terms of even the colors aren't as flat either. There's actually shading going on in a lot of the drawings.
So yeah, this is $40. You probably find it on Amazon cheaper, but if you are curious about a character and you want a crash course in their history or just the kind of history of comics in general, this is such a wonderful way of like getting into just the kind of the big picture. It's very fun.
Now, Max, we got a giant box of incredibly detailed, incredibly awesome stuff over here from Sideshow. Let's take a look.
Okay, so Sideshow Toys, if you're unfamiliar, they are an American-based company. They're down in, I think, Calabasas, California. They've been making really high-end action figures for a little while now. They've had the Star Wars license for some time. I think it's going back to like 2006 or so. We just got this Darth Maul. And like, I love Darth Maul. Darth Maul is awesome.
Yeah. God, that's so
I forget
cool.
that sometimes because he's like, at the same time that he's kicking ass, there's like Gungans throwing water balloons at each other, and you're like, oh man, I don't want to watch that movie again. But like Darth Maul is the coolest part of Episode 1, like easily.
Yeah, hands down.
He's a spiky like goth ninja. Like that's awesome. So anyway, this action figure is I think about $240. Sideshow makes it themselves. It's available now. You can kind of track it down. Sideshow does something else, though. They are the American distributor for Hot Toys, which is a Hong Kong-based action figure company that makes stuff like this. And typically, they run a little bit more pricey, but in this case, we kind of got another one that's all the same price range. This is the Armored Batman from Batman v Superman. We took some time like putting this guy together yesterday.
It's weird because it's like,
toy.
Neither of us are crazy about that movie, and I thought the first time I saw this costume, I was like, why would he need that? But this is an awesome sculpt. It's an awesome toy. This costume really grew on me.
Yeah. So the coolest thing here, pop off his head.
Oh my God!
First of all, his head comes off. He's got interchangeable mouths. We're not even showing any of the accessories here, but they get impressive. They frequently, especially with Hot Toys, have action features like the ability to have light up eyes. So you can be like, where are my keys? Where did I leave those? I can't find them. But yeah, this is a gorgeous action figure.
It's really weird being in the back of this shot.
Yeah. And then finally, we've also got the other big movie this summer where two dudes fight in a field or whatever. We got Captain America from Civil War. Again, all kind of the same price range, about $250. This one doesn't light up or anything. Why would it? But Cap has a legit metal shield.
Oh man!
He comes with all kinds of accessories. He's got like I think an extra mouth. He's got a unmasked Steve Rogers head. His pants come off, which our producer Zach decided to test out. So I awkwardly had to be. Thanks, Zach. I had to be like the weird dude in the corner of the office this morning during a meeting, like trying to like undo his belt and pull his pants up, but his like underpants were in the way. He comes with a crushed helmet of Crossbones from Civil War. Mm-hmm. Just like, these are the coolest. So I want
to point out real quick, too, that all of these have a lot of like soft goods and cloths and stuff like that. And they almost all look entirely different material. Like Batman's cape and Captain America's costume look like the material used in the film. They just, like, Captain America's got that sort of like sheer look to him.
Yeah, no, I mean,
Darth Maul's got that more like weathered cloth. I really, really like these.
It's kind of disingenuous to call these like action figures because they're really more just sort of like 1/6 scale replicas of characters.
Yeah, it's like having a shrunken costume in your
and
house.
they've got obviously interchangeable hands and everything. He comes with like shells for the kryptonite gun. So I ask you, which of these is the coolest for $250?
You're asking me?
Yes.
So my allegiance goes to Star Wars, and I love Darth Maul, but I have to say, and I do love Captain America. Civil War was awesome, but I really, really like this Batman. It's just so cool. I think it's the one I would probably pose because he's also, to me, the most immediately recognizable as a character, even if he's in this kind of chunky metal suit. He just looks so awesome. There's just something about this costume. Even his stand is really cool.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna go with Batman.
If you're very rich too, you can take them and you can just put them by your kitchen sink, and when you're drying your hands, you just go like
That's
that.
right.
It's a
Yeah,
great,
just
great
replace
thing.
those towels.
Yeah.
The light up eyes and everything too kind of seals the deal for me. He's just awesome.
Yeah, he's a lot less posable than the other ones. I gotta go with Cap. Like I love Darth Maul. He's got something I really love. He's got wires in his skirt, so you can pose it like he's just kicking Ewan McGregor in the chest or whatever. But like Cap has just like so many weird little pieces and stuff. There's a piece you can clip onto to his shield. Let's get a little close up of his shield here. Can we do that? Marsha, thanks.
There we go.
Yeah. So look
awesome.
at the inside here. These are actual functioning clips. Like this stuff blows my mind. This like unclips here. Look.
What?
It's a little tiny, like little tactical
That is
clip.
nuts.
Right?
I mean, you get what you pay for with
Yeah.
these. They are high-end collectibles, but you will not find anything better at this scale besides actually shrinking this down, which you'd need Rick Moranis for.
So if you're one of those people who just kind of has a casual, tangential interest in action figures, head over to the Sideshow website and like take a look at what they have on there. They got all kinds of stuff. They got
I'm really
Star Wars.
interested in that Ray and BB-8 set they did. It's gorgeous.
Another thing you could do if you're curious is you could also just take your wallet and just throw it in a fire, because that is a very dangerous thing to do.
At least take a picture of it though, because that's probably cool.
Yeah, to shoot like one of those like wallet burning videos that are so hot on YouTube.
Yeah, they love those. That's like the new ice bucket challenge. It's the water burn.
I'm burning
video.
my wallet for charity.
And that's our show, pretty much. Thank you so much for joining. I'm Brian Altano. That's Max Scoville. We came back from Comic-Con very tired, and we were able to pull this together, so we're very happy with what we did.
Yeah. Also, I have an exclusive right here. This is from an upcoming scene in the Star Wars Rogue One film. The friends are going to ride away in the sunset on this big lizard.
There they are.
Goodbye, everyone. What's happening next?
Stay tuned, because up next, James Duggan and IGN Australia's Lucy O'Brien will be playing Battlefield 1 on IGN Plays Live, and also come back at 2 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, 5 p.m. Eastern to check that out. And thank you so much for watching. Just stay tuned, and you'll be able to watch that very soon.
The Batman has defeated Killer Crocodile once and for all.
Thanks for watching.